Welcome to another episode of Touring History. We're at a church called Oakhill Baptist Church, and the church has been in existence for 114 years. Just spoke with the pastor, and so we have the church located here. He said it'll be now this building obviously is not 114 years old. They are located just about a mile away from here, and I've been here for a good long while. And it's called Oakhill Baptist Church, and he said this year they'll have 114 years that they've been as an existence as a church. Located behind me is a cemetery, and this cemetery is 123 years old, dedicated and by Mr. Hancock, and we'll be seeing here in 1902. And the pastor said all of the graves that have the American flag, and here's a big one right here. They all have, they're all veterans, the ones that are here. There's probably roughly maybe a couple hundred folks that are buried out here, mostly a family type cemetery. And so we're gonna go take a look. So thank you for joining. All right, so we see this is the whole location here, the cemetery. And it's a current cemetery where family members are allowed to be buried here. And so that's what they're pretty much keeping it to. Now, if you look at cemeteries, not all of them, but if you look at a lot of Christian cemeteries, we notice that behind us here, you got the sun here, and it's going down on the west side. And all the graves here are pointed to the east. And that's not every cemetery, but it's a lot of Christian cemeteries. And that's a biblical perspective in the Bible, as Jesus said, as lightning cometh from the east to the west, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man. And so a lot of the graves are pointing east where the sun rises, and so that's why you see that quite often. Cemeteries pointed in the direction of the east. But we see here the cemetery, Oakhill Cemetery, says the land donated by Bowser Hancock, 1902, Bowser, for interment of the original families of the area and other descendants. So this is primarily for the family members who used to be here. And they have a little marker here, dedicated flag when you first come in. There. And we see here that he was the founder, Mr. Hancock, this cemetery from 1902, which would make it 123 years, which is older than the actual church itself. So obviously the cemetery was established here, and then also then they built the church at this particular location. So a lot of the members here are family members of the church, but also you have other descendants that were here before the church was here. So we'll look at a couple of stones here. See, this is a dated here, Johnson, from 1909 to 1966. Then you have Bessie Barber, born 1890, died December 7th, 1948. So a lot of these are very similar. This is 1958, but even sometimes you look at these and they're not really that old. This is a 1985, and it still has this type of stone here. And if you see it, you'll see like American flags kind of scattered around, and we'll take a look at a few of those. There's a interesting headstone that's around here that I want to show y'all that I've never seen before, and it's not really that old. Sometimes you'll have like unmarked ones where they put a headstone, but just more of an identifying marker, but nothing was put there. But we see this one here, Kirkland, Brownell E. Kirkland, May 9th, 1935 born, but died not long ago, September 4th, 2003. So, and that was hand carved in there. You can see that. So you see a pipe that's here above. And then you see an alligator right there. And then out of wood, you see like some type of bear or pig, whatever that is, and that's a cow. So it's very interesting. It says not that old, it's 2003. So very unusual. And let's see some more here. And the sad thing that you see, but when you see older cemeteries, you see a lot of infants who passed away because of them not being able to have medication that we have nowadays. So you see that in a lot of these cemeteries, a lot of baby deaths happen. So we'll see here, here's a veteran here from World War I, Roundtree Goodman, died 1973, born 1896, buried right next to a tree. It's very interesting. Roundtree Goodman, buried right next to a tree. And I really haven't seen too many of the graves there because that's there and the rest are around from the tree. I don't know if that was by coincidence or what have you, but that's very interesting there. And we'll see some of these other ones a little bit older here. Again, a lot of these are from the same family. So here's another Goodman. So you have a lot of Goodmans that are around here. Died 1967. Served in World War II. Navy Reserve. You see the flag that's there as well. Here's another Goodman. It was a child. You see how it's hand carved. November 1912 through 1926. And then, so a lot of these were born in the 1800s, 1887 to 1976. Again, here's another handcrafted one. Mary Goodman. You have, it's very interesting. You have the headstone that was carved, and apparently they later put this here as well. And some more Goodmans here. And here's another veteran that's here, Private Goodman, U.S. Army. So we'll go over here, and this is where you see a lot of the infants. And here's another World War II veteran here, Private Emory Brown. And see here, sad, where child is granddaughter of Wooden. And there's a baby, 1965. Another baby, 1964. And more baby graves. They're there. And these are kind of next to a tree. Not really, not able to identify. Here's another baby that's here. Died just a few days later. And infant daughter. So this family had a lot of tragedy. Had a lot of babies that died in their family. Again, that was not uncommon. Some more baby graves. So it's almost like this is a row of baby graves. More rows of baby graves. Almost like this is kind of like the baby section where they buried the babies here. So we see these markers here. A lot of them are written, carved out in essence, probably with the nail. See here. Here's an example of another one. 1923. I guess it's just carved out by it seems like probably a nail or something. 1923. So you look at this area here, so it's right off the highway, and you wonder what type of community that was here. Said about a mile away, roughly, is where the church was located. Started 114 years ago before it moved here. And that monument we saw in our first episode is literally probably about 4 or 5 miles down the road from here. And that was a 1930 monument. And so a lot of these people we see here, more Goodmans, who buried in the 1930s here. 1940. And this, I think this might be the oldest grave. I'm not saying it is. Let me back up a little bit. But you see, it says in memory of William S. Goodman, born 1880, died December 25th, so died on Christmas 1906. It says gone at the very bottom, but not forgotten. So right now, that's the oldest one I see here, 1906, and the cemetery was dedicated in 1902. But again, some of these are hard to read. Here's another one, another William Kirkland, died June 29th, 1907, born in 1857. So in memory of. May you rest in peace, William B. Kirkland. And if you see these markers, so here's a marker here, but then there's nothing there but some initials. Now these military stones that come from the VA, you see 1960, and back up a little bit, Harvey Kirkland. I think it was around the 1920s, they started doing these veteran headstones like this. Might be wrong about that, but I believe it was 1920s. And here's an Ann Kirkland. So not that died 1996, but this has one of those markers, 1906 to 1996, so it's 90 years old. And we have here, so nothing but initials. Got GAG, no year, just initials. And there's nothing on the back of there. So here's another one, another Goodman. We see 1909 to 1910. So that was a baby that was here, little one. So this is Goodman's here, right next to Kirkland's. So, but you see, this is 1910, and then this Kirkland here, you have a Kirkland that's 1970, and you have a Goodman that's 1910, and then you have a Kirkland that's here from 1960. So it's very interesting that this Goodman is buried 60 years later, and their Kirkland is on either side. So so some of these sometimes don't look old, and they are. And then vice versa. Some look like the one we saw earlier, the gator. One with the gator, that was like 2003. So more Goodmans out here. Here's a Forrest Goodman, 1995. And there, some more Goodmans. Mother Goodman. And here's another veteran. World War I, died 1958. And then we have, again, another marker here. So I wouldn't be surprised if these are some of the earlier ones here. So we have another Goodman, Mary Goodman, 1893, died 1931. And so you have the older headstone in the back, and then the slab is here. It looks definitely younger. Loving Robert Goodman, 76, loving husband and father. Then we have this another Goodman here, 1912 to 1926. William Goodman, and we just passed some of these already. Just want to show you this row here of Goodmans and Kirklands here. So then go to this area, and you see married, and Marsh family married in 1951. Cecil died in 2010 and 2007. And we have another infant here, February 28th, 1948. And so imagine the family who come, maybe people have come back here to leave these items. And this is interesting. Oscar Rice, 1919 to 1946, says he was the sunshine of our home. Oscar Rice. Here's one that's interesting. It's hard to see. This is you look, it says something like 1865, and I really can't make out the age of that stone. And what's very interesting, has like a star on top, has the name there, which you can hardly make out. So they leave these little mementos, little birdie, 1946, and you see that's a Hancock, died in 46. And then you have Hancock here. It looks like it's in the 30s something. Then you have a little ducky here, and you have a little birdie here. It says her memory is blessed. Georgia mother, Georgia Hancock. Then you have another one that's here. It says, looks like it's 1905. What's funny is my camera actually looks better. I can see it better through my camera than I can looking directly at it. It was like 1905, and it's like 24 or something like that. And that's a Sullivan. That's another baby here. Died 1935. And it just makes you wonder, like, you have little memento things left like this, and then kind of makes you wonder, a little lamb on top, like, when was these items left behind? Here's another Sullivan, baby girl with no first name mentioned, 1935. And here's another baby here, born January 1923, died April 2025. Let's see. Kind of hard to read, but another marker here. So see Faye and Kay Marsh, 1952. So it looks like that they were twins that both died here, so that's sad. See the marker here? It says Little Buds of Love, Faye and Kay Marsh, March 17, 1952. You have two roses together. And also you have the two little angels. Little ones to him belong. So that's very sad. Two twins that both died on the same day. Imagine that family, what they were dealing with in that. Flowers here. It says Benjamin Flowers. Benjamin F. Flowers died 1922. It says, upright and just he was in all his ways. A bright example in delightful days, or something like that. So it's here. That was 1922. So J. Needles. This one is Beloved Mother. 1919. We have shells that are here. Here at this footstone. Shells around the grave. 1919. So imagine when they put this grave here. It says Beloved Mother. Perhaps the children did this. Maybe she loved, going to the beach, and that was something they did special for her. We have Ethel Hancock, says here, October 13th through 1898 through July 2nd, 1919. Very hard to read what's there. So we see these are at the footstone here. So a lot of graves have a headstone, and a lot of them have a footstone as well. So we see flowers, and remember earlier that we saw some flowers. It says Mother Mary J. Flowers, 1843, died in 1915. She was too good, too gentle, and to dwell in this old world of ours. Says again, she was too good and too gentle, and can't catch that there, to dwell in this old world of ours. Again, we see the sun is going down on the west. So remember, before, the oldest grave we saw was 1906. So now we're here at a grave of 1902, which, remember when we came in, Mr. Hancock made this a cemetery, dedicated the cemetery in 1902. So it says, see where it says, it looks like Francis Hancock, 1901 to 1902. You see just above there is a lamb. And quite often when you see babies who have passed, they'll have a lamb in reference to the baby. And there's an Oscar Hancock, private, U.S. Army, born 1896, died 1918. So and here is his grave right there. Headstone. And again, we'll have some more that are here, not identified. Markers not identified. And see another veteran here. Georgia. That's where I'm from, Columbus, Georgia. George Fort, Georgia. Private. See, died 1966. Again here, Penny Fort, so husband and wife probably, died 1987, and they both have these markers here. One here I passed, I want to go back to. This is Nancy Jerkins, 1864 through 1956. And so I think this is primarily the older area. This is one that we're going to see is kind of interesting because it really doesn't have any detail. I'll try to find out some more. The one we're about to see after this, but here's one that's an early part of the cemetery. Ella Carter Heath, 1853 to 1914. Now this one we see here, it has the person's name. Last name is Heath, Casper L. Heath, U.S. Navy, but there's no year on there. It's very interesting. Buried next to Ella Heath, 1914. Here is Casper Heath with no year there. So good thing about nowadays, we can do some researching online to find these. Grave there for 1970. And I don't really want to go by the more recent ones. Here's another veteran that's here. And this is very hard to read. Just know this one has a flag, so this is a veteran, but it's not very easy to read. And again, some seashells. They're there. Here's another veteran. You'll see 2008. Sullivan. But the thing is you come by certain places, they'll have markers, but no headstone. Ray King, Clark, 1898 to 1976. And you see, like, this is a block. No headstone, no marker. And some more Sullivans here. Finest angel of them all. Another baby that died. 1958. So another Sullivan here. Another baby, 4 years old. And here, see these different marks. It says 2005. And you see this mug. It's a coffee mug. Big mug. It says mother on there. Cynthia, 1918 to 2005. So these might have been special things to her. Another Sullivan. See this here? Got a horse right here in the middle. And some more little angels, deer. 1914, 1953. Here's a Mother Sullivan to 1965. And this would be the husband, father, died 1884, 1995. And so we'll go over here. Here's one that's very hard to read. You see these are unusual. These slabs here. $1889 or something to 1959. These are more current ones, but we'll kind of pass those. And so there's, like I said, an example. We saw a Kirkland earlier. The one that we saw earlier that I told you had the alligator. I believe that was a Kirkland. And that was 2003. So you see this Kirkland here, it looks like it's old, but it's really not. It says 1939 to 1993. So not really that old. Here's another one, 1993. A veteran case, 1988. Then another Kirkland, 1971. And we'll hit a few more. And again, yeah, these are here. So the older ones we saw were the ones that were 1902, and that might have been the very first one, because again, You see, this is not that old. 1990. And people have left all different type of little figurines here. Maybe they were special to them, something that belonged to them. So back here we see back here, see a veteran here. Air Force. 1937, Henry. 2003. Then we see more Wootons here. And the Wootons, we saw them earlier at the beginning part. So you have some more that are buried back here. And so you have this truck. And Sergeant Wooton was a veteran, Air Force veteran. And, so these markers here, I mean these little mementos here, I presume are something special or something that were perhaps that they had and the family wanted to go ahead and keep those with them here at the cemetery. And there's a Daisy May, 1905, 1984. Well, here's an interesting one. Sometimes you do see these with pets or what have you, but you see this? Ralph James Byron, Senior Master Sergeant. Then he has this here, but then also you see a statue on his grave of his dog. And apparently he had this type of dog as a friend or something like that. And then you have this little tractor here. And you see some of the same family members, 2014. Horace, 1974. And Mary, 1996. These are well kept. So we'll just have a little bit more. We'll go over this little hill here. We're almost done. This is like the back corner. Let's see here. So then again, you always wonder about the markers that never get filled, or these are plates that usually go out before they put out the stones, but it's 1978 Davis, 1981. So this is a Vietnam veteran, Navy, William Glenn. Davis, Benjamin and Rosie. '84. See that beautiful background there? 1991. Let's see, smart, do it. Head was the name. And see a few more. It's another Goodman. Remember, Goodman's throughout here. You see, this is a Navy veteran, died 2005. Then here's a Navy veteran, same last name, Goodman, Coast Guard, died 1973. So we see is Jesse Rudolph Goodman here, Daryl Jesse Goodman. So this might have been the father, 1973. And then, well, actually, Jesse was born 1921, died 2005. And Daryl Jesse Goodman, born 1943. So actually could have been father and son, but Jesse would have been before 22 years before. And this is the very corner, Carter. We see here Polly Carter, 1897, 1978. Divine love meets every human need. wonder if that was something that she had said. John J. Carter, 1875 to 1940. But then you have another John R. Carter, 1931 to 1954. So this John J. Carter was born 1875, and then this John R. Carter was born 1931, and so very interesting. So that's pretty much the whole, covered a majority of them, a good portion of them, and so again, thank you for joining. Like I said, most of the cemeteries, Christian cemeteries, not all of them, point to the east where the sun rises because of the reference to Jesus Christ talking about the Son of Man comes as lightning cometh out of the east to the west, so is the coming of the Son of Man. And we see behind me west as the sun goes down. Thank you again for joining us on Touring History, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.